Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morgue. My name is Mal, and today we have a special guest. We have my sister. She's back again.
Hello, hello.
Her name is Monika. If y'all did not see her or listen to her in the last episode with the faculty, that was a great time. And today it's Friday the 13th. Ooh. And also it's October, so like that just makes it extra ookity spookity today. And so I decided, let's do a Friday the 13th movie. And so of course I had to ask my sister because we grew up watching these movies and we both decided on Freddy versus Jason.
Yes, it's one of my favorites.
Because she loves her some Freddy Krueger.
Yes, that is my man. I want Freddy so bad.
We were just talking on the phone about it. She was like, he is so fine.
Yes, I love Robert Englund. Okay, I love him so much. He plays an amazing character. To play himself, how many times? How many movies, Freddy movies are there?
Okay, so let's see. There's 6, New Nightmare, and then this. So that's 8.
8?
Yeah, he played the role 8 times.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
And to stay in character, and like he's so good at what he does, you know?
He makes the later movies definitely watchable.
Yeah. Isn't he a director as well?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. So I don't know. But yeah, no, he's amazing. We love us some Robert Englund in this household.
Yes.
But then there's also my boy Jason. I love me some Jason.
And y'all can already tell I myself, Monika, I'm a Freddy fan, and is a Jason fan.
Why are you using my legal name? Don't use my government name. My name is Mal.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay. But yes, I am a fan of Jason. I'm on Team Jason 100%. And yeah. But before we begin, I do want to remind everyone about the subscriptions that are going to be coming around November or so.
Y'all go subscribe.
Yes, those will be $3.99. They will be available on Spotify as well as Patreon. 4 episodes a month. That will be 1 a week. And yeah, it's going to be a great time over in subscriptions. We're going to be doing other movies. Us too, we're going to be doing Beer Fest specifically. It's going to be a great time. Y'all are going to hear about our amazing drinking game that goes along with it. We're going to be doing some true crime. We're going to be having just random talks. I actually came up with a topic today about conspiracy theories and Mandela effects. It's going to be a great time over there. So be sure to subscribe.
Sounds convincing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and then we are also going to be posting little teasers that go along with them because me personally, I'm the type of person, I need a little trailer. I want to know what's going on, what I'm getting myself into, what I'm subscribing to. So we want to provide those for you guys so you can make sure that that's something that you want, because I would hate for someone to subscribe and them not like it, you know?
Exactly.
I want y'all to know what y'all are getting yourselves into. So
I'm excited.
I'm very pumped. And so, starting out, Freddy vs. Jason is a 2003 horror movie written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift, no relation to Taylor.
Swiftie.
No, not in this household.
I'm not a Swiftie either.
I am not a Swiftie either. No. I actually was going to post something on Facebook the other day asking if anyone knows how to mute words from the timeline, because I was getting sick and tired of seeing stuff about Taylor Swift. Because she's dating that football player.
Yeah.
I'm just
Travis Kelce, right?
I guess.
Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
They're all over my For You page on TikTok, and
Thank goodness they're not on my TikTok. Thank goodness. But anyways, Freddy vs. Jason started out as an idea in 1987. Paramount and New Line were going to join together to make a movie, and no agreements were ever made between the studios. So eventually, Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, it became a box office flop. So the rights were eventually sold to New Line in 1989. And 2 years later, Joseph Zito, he was the director of Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, the one with little Corey Feldman in it.
Yes.
He tried reviving the idea, but neither Frank Mancuso Jr., who was the producer of Friday the 13th, nor Robert Shea, who was the producer of Nightmare on Elm Street, were interested in the project. So on top of that, Wes Craven eventually returned to New Line and to the Nightmare franchise to direct New Nightmare in 1994. So yet again, Freddy vs. Jason was put on hold. But Sean Cunningham, another producer of Friday the 13th, was able to bring Jason back in Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, which I'm going to say it right here. That's one of the best Friday the 13th movies. I don't care what anybody says. It goes completely off the wall.
It is really good. It's just very gory, which...
I love gore. And see, I'm here for it. But people are not pissed off about the gore. People are pissed off because they don't see Jason in his hockey mask. And I like the body jumper idea. I like the idea of this little slug thing being like his disgusting soul literally going into other people's bodies. Like, that's awesome. Who could it be? You know what I'm saying?
Right. It was really good.
There's a lot of suspense in that, you know, in my opinion.
I still missed the hockey mask.
I did still miss the hockey mask. And of course, Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder was playing him. He is one of the best Jasons.
Yeah.
He is definitely top tier Jason 100%.
I totally agree.
And I missed him in that movie. But still, I like the movie. If I'm going to choose any of them, I'm going to choose that one. But of course, we talked and we discussed and we decided to do Freddy vs. Jason. So here we are.
And my favorite Jason movie is probably number 2.
The second one is definitely right underneath for me because I like Jenny, the final girl.
You're right.
She's one of my favorite final girls. She's a very strong-willed person. Also, the kills in it, specifically
the wheelchair
one.
That one was so creative. But also, yeah, like,
laughing, but God.
I know, it's terrible. Like, I laugh at it now.
So funny.
But the first time I watched it, it was so
terrifying.
Good.
It was terrifying. Yes. But now you watch it and it's so funny and creative.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Good times. What's your... I already know what your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie is because it's the same as mine.
Probably...
Dream Warriors. I already know.
Yeah, that's number 3.
Yes.
Yeah, either that or the first one.
The first one
is a classic.
Yes.
That's probably number 1 for me, is number 1. And then my second one is Dream World. Dream Warriors.
Dream World.
Yeah, I love that one when they're in the hospital.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That one's a really good one. That one's very creative. And it definitely changed it up. And then Nancy was back and it was definitely a big change from the shit show of the second one.
I just hate how Nancy died at the end.
Oh.
Spoiler alert.
If you haven't seen that movie. It's
on the third one.
Freaking like 1987 or something.
It was good though.
It was great.
Had a lot of like known actors nowadays.
Nowadays,
from
sure.
now. Yeah.
And so Cunningham was also very frustrated with the delays, and so he eventually created Jason X as well, which was filmed in 2000. It was shelved and then released in 2002 in the U.S.
Which that's my fiance's favorite Jason movie is Jason X.
He
loves the one in space. I know. I don't like it. It looks very cheap.
It does look so cheap. That's my issue with it. Whenever I was younger, I liked it. Because I'm like, oh yeah, futuristic. Yeah, I remember we had it on DVD, and I would watch it a lot because that was the only Jason movie that we had on DVD. Right. And I was like, oh yeah, like this is great. Like this is so good. It's all futuristic and stuff. The kills are really good. Yeah. Like the guy that goes on the screw thing, and then they have the fucking stupid line, he's screwed. Like, okay, you went too far with that.
It was very creative as for the kills. But for the script and I guess for some of the ideas around, like, I don't know. It just...
It was not it.
It's either a hit or miss, and that was a miss.
Miss, for sure.
For myself.
And so New Line supposedly spent about $6 million on script development, and that was like bouncing in between different writers.
And fun fact, there was over a dozen writers.
Yes, there was a lot of writers. And so they went out and were asking all these people, and after many years of development, and like she just said, many different writers, newcomers Damian Shannon and Mark Swift were brought on to write the official script. And after initially declining, Ronnie Yu was secured to direct, and he actually also directed Bride of Chucky, and I'm here for it, and I liked him. Up until we get to the casting of Jason, which you can take it away for the cast.
I just don't like the cast in general.
Yeah, no.
Other than one person. Well, other than Robert Englund, and then, I'll get to that. So the casting was Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. This was the last time playing Freddy Krueger. Ken Kurtzinger as Jason Voorhees.
Which I want to interject right here because originally Kane Hodder, who played Jason, like we said, last 4 films, he signed on to reprise his role. However, he was let go for 2 reasons. Number 1, the studio wanted to reinvent the character. And number 2, Ronnie Yu wanted someone to like Hulk over Robert Englund, which here's my issue. Englund is 5'9", okay? Kane Hodder is 6'3". He would have already been hulking over him. Kurtzinger was only 6'5". They literally added 2 inches.
All they would have had to do was put boots.
I was going to say, throw some blocks on his shoes. Literally just throw some little blocks on his shoes. 2-inch blocks. Boom. Put some heels on the man. Like...
All I'm picturing is Jason wearing some like stilettos.
Throw him in some 6-inch heels.
Right. Okay, and then we had Monika with a C, Keena as Lori, Kelly Rowland.
We love some Kelly Rowland, yes.
As Kia.
She has some funny ass lines in this, I'm just saying.
Yeah, and a fun fact, some of her lines were not scripted.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, she improvised a lot of this stuff. Jason Ritter as Will, which that is
John
Ritter's son.
Yes.
Which they look just alike. Mm-hmm. Catherine Isabel as Gib.
Which, if you didn't know, Catherine Isabel has been pretty big in the horror scene. If you've ever seen like Ginger Snaps, I'm pretty sure it was American Mary that she was in. She is such a great actress. I like her, and she's really pretty.
I think she's really pretty. I just don't like her character.
I hate her character. Her character's fucking dumb. Gib is a dumbass.
Yeah. Christopher Marquette as Linderman. Brendan Fletcher as Mark. And Kyle Labine as Freeberg.
My boy Freeberg.
We like Freeberg.
Yes, we do love Freeberg.
Up until a point.
Yes.
We'll get to that.
Filming began on September 9th, 2002 until December 10th, 2002. They literally filmed for like 3 months. That's crazy to me because like, okay.
For such a big movie.
And I just recently covered Halloween. Mm-hmm. And for like, I know that was like so low budget and stuff like that. But they filmed that within 20 days. 4 weeks, that movie was filmed. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at this and it's like, damn, that's 3 months.
I feel like it should be longer if you want to like perfect the movie. I don't know. I've never been in a movie, so I don't know how long it takes to film movies. 4 weeks seems rushed to me.
But you gotta think that movie, the budget for Halloween was only $325,000.
True.
Like, that's super low budget. They didn't have the budget to even go any longer than that. But then there's this, and it's like, whoo. But it ended up opening up on theaters August 13th, 2003 in the U.S. and Canada. And it had an estimated budget of $30 million. So that just tells you why they were able to film that long. And it had an opening box office gross of $36.4 million and ended up with a gross worldwide of $116.6 million.
So they made their money back 3 times.
Yeah, that's woo. Woo. And it had a runtime of 1 hour 37 minutes or 97 minutes.
For the weirdos.
For the weirdos out there.
And then it had an IMDb rating of 5.7 out of 10, which I honestly don't agree. I feel like it should be lower.
I feel like it should be lower.
Now that I've watched it, you know, the movie just, in my opinion, did not age well.
No, it did not.
But yeah, let me get back to it. Rotten Tomatoes, 41% on the tomato meter and 50% by audience.
I agree with both of those.
And then Letterboxd, 2.7 out of 5.
I agree with that. It should probably be like a 2.5, honestly.
Yeah.
And so we open in a boiler room. It's our boy's Freddy's boiler room. He's being a real creep. Talking about how children give him power, even from the beginning, even whenever he was human. And this nasty mofo is up there making a scrapbook of all the kids that he got, if you know what I'm saying. And he was putting them on there. And this probably turned Monika on. He was up there licking the backs of the pictures and then putting them onto the scrapbook.
It doesn't... Okay, let me clarify something. It does not turn me on that Freddy Krueger was a pedophile.
A pedophile murderer. Like.
Yes. I don't know. It's something about Robert Englund. Just himself.
And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
The kids. And it's not him being like a murderer, pedophile. I don't know. Like, that's gross. I feel like pedophiles should be killed.
Absolutely.
That's just my own opinion. Or a death penalty or,
No, not even death penalty. No, they need to be... Sorry, not sorry. They need to be tortured by the families of the victims that they did their dirty, nasty deeds to. How about that? Tortured until death.
I agree. But I do like Freddy. And I don't know, him licking the back of the pictures didn't really turn me on, but other parts did. Okay. It's just because it had pictures of kids. Like, if it was a picture of something else, like, picture of a dog, like, okay,
no,
cool.
I couldn't even do a dog. Or maybe a picture of a tree.
Right.
It would have to be something that's, like, not
relatable.
Not living, something
because he had to kill them.
Exactly.
To add to the scrapbook.
Exactly.
And why would he make a scrapbook? Like, it was like...
evidence book, basically. If anyone came up in there, they would open up this book and be like, oh shit, these are all the missing kids. Right. This motherfucker right here. That motherfucker right here. Like,
he is not real.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
Oh my god.
And so... eventually, the parents of Springwood, they come and they throw all these Molotov cocktails into his little room area.
Why did you just say it like that?
What? Molotov cocktails? That's how it said.
Oh, I just thought it was just like bottles with like...
No, Molotov cocktails. Look it up. It's literally like the fucking... You've played like Call of Duty.
A homemade bomb.
Yes, you've played Call of Duty before. They had the little Molotov cocktails in there. And so, they throw them into his little room and he gets burned alive. Duh. And then Freddy narrates and he's saying that in his human form, he was pretty bad. But then afterwards, he became something worse. The thing that nightmares are made of. And we get a flashback of other nightmare movies.
Which I love that they added those.
I love this part because, so whenever we were younger and we watched this, I had only seen the first one. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch any of the other ones. I think I may have seen like New Nightmare too.
Right.
But I hadn't seen, 2 through 6. And so watching this back whenever I was younger, I'm like, oh, all of those movies look so interesting.
Right.
I'm sitting there thinking like, oh shit, like, that happened to Freddy?
Right.
Freddy did that?
Right.
What? Like, oh my gosh. And so going and actually watching the movies, I'm like, this is some bullshit.
They show a bunch from the third one, which I was excited about.
Yes. And so, like I said, it's showing flashbacks and it includes Philip being pulled like the puppet in part 3. Freddy showing his like soul of chests. And I think that was also in 3. It was either in 3 or 4. I'm pretty sure it was 3 though. And then Johnny Depp also being sucked into his bed in the first one. And of course, the welcome to prime time, bitch, kill. And Freddy says that everyone feared him and he became strong. But then they figured out a way to forget about him, to erase him. He says,
being dead wasn't a problem, but being fucked up, now that's a bitch.
And we get a montage of Freddy basically getting his ass whooped in all these different movies. And Freddy says that he can't come back if nobody remembers him. He can't come back if no one's afraid. He says that he had to search the bowels of hell to find someone who would be able to make them remember. Basically, Freddy is going to invade Jason's dream to wake his ass up. And so, in Jason's dream, a girl flashes her little titties and decides,
in the first 5 minutes.
And yes, this is within the first 5 minutes of the movie. Flashes her little titties and decides to go skinny dipping in what we assume is Crystal Lake. And here's a little fun fact. You remember Final Destination 2?
Yes.
So you know the part in the beginning whenever they're on the freeway, right? And there's the two dudes in the background. One of them, I think, is like smoking a joint or something. And he sees the biker chick that comes up and flashes him. That's the same girl.
Really?
Yes, that is the same girl.
It is.
Because I was like, I've seen her before. Like, I've seen them titties before. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I've seen them.
Right.
And so I went onto her IMDb and I was like, no shit. That makes sense.
We'll have to do a Final Destination one.
We will. But only like, I like the first 3.
Yeah, same.
The first 3 is really good. The fourth one is okay. I don't like the 3D aspect of it, but it's okay.
Right.
After that, no. And then they're coming out with a new one apparently, and she's waiting for this guy named Mike. I assume that's her boyfriend. And she ends up getting freaked out, and she gets partially dressed. And that's when she sees Jason walking towards her in the distance. And she tries running, but she obviously is being stalked. She trips and ends up running right into Jason.
I did a countdown to when she falls.
Yes, she literally falls on nothing.
Yeah.
And she's like backing up and shit, and she runs right into Jason, and she is stibbity stabbed by his big ass machete so hard that he pulls a Michael Myers, okay? And she is stuck hanging on the tree like a Halloween decoration. The machete went all the way through this big ass oak tree. Like, it's insane. And so then he hears the voice of his mother. And that's when the corpse switches over to like different victims. And they're all like saying like, I deserve to die. We deserve to be punished. And like the visual effects are pretty okay for 2003. But I'm not going to say that it aged very well. And then his mother appears.
Which, that pisses me off because it wasn't the original.
Listen. I got something to say about that. I don't blame her for not coming back, and here's why. So his mother appears, and no, it's not Betsy Palmer. Betsy was offered the role, but she said in an interview that they only wanted to pay her what they call scale, which is basically the minimum wage for actors. She deserved way better than that minimum wage.
But it was only like...
She deserved better than that minimum wage. She literally started the franchise. She started the franchise. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, of course, Jason is known for it, but Pamela Voorhees started the franchise. And not only that, she was already an acclaimed actress before that. She deserved some better money than minimum wage.
True.
You know what? Like... It's crazy. And plus, knowing that this was a $30 million budget movie.
They should have fought for her.
Exactly. And so Pamela is telling him that he has a gift of never dying. Because, of course, this is zombie Jason that we're dealing with. And she tells him to wake up. She has something that she wants him to do. Go to Elm Street and cause havoc, basically. And as Jason's heart starts beating, his eyes open.
And no, not his eyes. One eye.
I should say, opens.
One eye.
Because his other eye is messed up. His little eye opens or whatever. And then Pamela, he arises. And then Pamela turns into Freddy. And he wants full control of Jason to scare everyone in Springwood, to make them think Freddy is back, to spread the fear so Freddy can become more powerful. And I have a question right here about Jason's resting place. So this takes place after Freddy versus Jason. Not Freddy. This is Freddy versus Jason. What am I talking about? This takes place after Jason Goes to Hell, right?
Right.
At the end of Jason Goes to Hell, Jason's body is literally pulled down to hell by the little demon arms, right? And what doesn't make sense to me is the fact that his body is literally just out in the middle of nowhere, just in the woods, half buried. Like, what? Where's his house? You know what I'm saying? I can understand. I can understand if he came up out of the ground at his house,
but they didn't show that. They just showed him just laying in the woods,
just in the woods. Like, make it make sense. Make it make sense
with barely any flesh.
Make it make sense. And so, cut over to skin being sliced into infinite pieces, and New Line Cinema presents blood being thrown onto some skin. Spine Shank's Beginning of the End starts playing, and it says Freddy versus Jason. And I'm just saying, that's a great song. I've had that song on my playlist for years, and it's
I remember watching it and being so hyped when that song came on.
Oh, yeah.
The beginning credits, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's the beginning of the end. Yeah. So we're on Elm Street, and we see a shadow of Jason walking up. It's a rainy night, and at 1428 Elm Street, 3 friends, Gib, Kia, and Lori, are playing Fuck, Marry, Kill, and being boring as hell. They're talking about the Three Stooges.
Right.
Ugh. And then Gib lights a cigarette in Lori's house.
Without the window open.
Without the window open. She later opens the window. But the fact that she doesn't even respect Lori's house enough to open up the window first. I understand, yes, it's raining outside and maybe she doesn't have like a back porch and clearly her front porch is not that big. I get that. But at least open up the fucking window. Right. The windows don't even have screens on them. Like, stick your hand out.
In my disrespect. Opinion, she was very disrespectful and not a very good friend.
No, disrespect. I don't like Gib. And so she's like smoking her cigarette, whatever, and she's like, I need to go get cigarettes. So she flicks her cigarette, and Jason's standing right out there. The cigarette hits him on his little mask. And as she's like about to open up the door, Lori's like, are you sure you should drive? And she's like, I am definitely under the limit. But she can barely even find the door handle. Like, girl, chill. When she opens up the door, fucking Trey and his friend Blake are there. And luckily they have more beers. Which, okay, question. How was Gib going to be able to get beer?
Right. Unless she had a fake ID.
And also, how fucking old is Trey? Because I feel like Blake maybe like went to school with them because he looked a little bit younger.
Yeah.
How the fuck old is Trey?
Right.
Fucking pedophile. Like.
And he's an asshole.
They think that Freddy and Jason are the villain. Trey is the real villain of this movie.
Right.
Like. And his attitude just shows that he's the real fucking villain. Because he ends up kissing Gib. And then throws her off and is like, you taste like cigarettes.
And then she says, at least it's menthol.
Like
it's
God,
a difference.
Exactly.
You still smell like cigarettes.
Exactly.
You still taste like cigarettes. But, you know.
The boys end up making themselves comfy in the living room with their nasty, wet, muddy-ass fucking feet on the sofa. Oh, that pisses me off.
And why isn't Lori just being like, hey, take your shoes off? Like,
I'd be like, y'all gotta go.
She needs a backbone.
I straight up would say, y'all need to leave. Lori's over there talking to Kia, and she's pissed that they're there. And she says that Blake isn't her type. And Kia says, who is? Nobody's ever going to live up to the fuzzy memory of her first love. But also, she was 14, so she needs to get the fuck over it. And I wholeheartedly agree. Like, girlfriend,
I agree with you.
You were like 18 years old at this point, okay? Because homeboy left 4 years ago. You were 18. It's time to move on.
Right.
Because I'm thinking back whenever I was 14 compared to whenever I was 18. The people that I liked whenever I was 14 could not compare to the people that I liked whenever I was 18.
No.
So, like, she needs to chill.
She was stuck on that boy.
And the thing about it, she was a virgin, too. So it's not like she was digmatized.
Ew.
but for real. For real, it would that would kind of make sense. You know, the first person that you give your virginity to.
Together?
Exactly.
You know, if they broke up when she was 14.
Right. And she's taking it so seriously. But Lori says that what they had was real. But Kia quickly reminded her that we'll bounce without even a goodbye. And, like, he didn't even say goodbye. You got to go. Like, get over him. Chill.
But there's also reasoning to it.
Yes, there's reasoning to it. But girlfriend, get the fuck over it. Like, yes, there are people in my life who I never got a goodbye from and, like, we fell out or whatever. But I've gotten the fuck over them after, like, a year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Ugh. And so, maybe she doesn't need to get over it with Blake because the guy literally readjusts his balls in front of everybody and it's disgusting. And he tries to flirt with Lori a little bit, talking about the feng shui of the house. And Kia tries to help Lori out and tells Blake that he should go feel the flow in her room. Like a good wingman, but girlfriend, no, please, not with Blake. And suddenly the lights go out. Gib and Trey go upstairs, and Lori asks Gib what she sees in him. And before going, she says she doesn't know, but he has a cute ass. Understandable. But then here's Trey showing more of his assholeness by saying,
babe, you make me ask you twice, okay?
Excuse me, just because you want a massage, sir? I'm up here talking with my friends. This isn't even your fucking house.
I'm not a psychic, but I see domestic violence charges
Exactly.
in the future.
Exactly. I was thinking that the entire time. I'm like, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. All of this is red fucking flag.
Yeah.
And so Blake is still trying to flirt, and Lori sends him to the kitchen to grab some beers. And when he leaves, Lori tells Kia to get him to leave, but that she doesn't like him. And Kia makes the remark that she hasn't been out with a guy since her mom died, which I totally get. I totally get not being able to be emotionally available after your parent dies. But damn, girly pop, you need to get over Will. It's time. Like, sheesh. And so in the kitchen, Blake is in there grabbing the beers, and the wind is blowing, and it knocks the flame out of Blake's candle. And he sees that the back door is wide the fuck open. And what is it with these people in these horror movies never leaving their doors locked?
Right. It's nighttime. It's raining. Like,
just lock your fucking doors. Just lock your doors.
Yeah.
It's not that hard
and if
to lock
not
your
the
door.
front door, like, lock the other doors. You know what I mean? If you expect people to come over,
That's one thing.
You know, keep
I
the front
understand
door
that.
open,
And like,
but-
you're near the front door, you're in the living room, you can see the front door, but at least lock the freaking back door.
yeah,
God,
I agree.
idiots. And so then we get a POV shot of someone walking up the stairs into the hall, and they're watching Gib and Trey fuck. And afterwards, Gib tries to cuddle, but then Trey says,
Babe, you know I don't like to be touched after, okay?
"Can I punch
Red
this man?
flag,
Red
red
flag." And so she goes to take a shower, and he says, "Good. She smells like menthols anyways." Like, what a fucking pig.
Right.
I want to punch this man
But
in
yeah,
the face.
you just had sex with her. So
Exactly. The kitty cat was good enough. So,
Right.
my God, sir. Ugh. And so,
He deserves what's coming for him.
yes, in the shower, we get another, like, a little yitty shot. But this is a body double and not actually Catherine Isabel. So, we do not actually see her yitties. And Trey is in bed. He cracks open a beer, but is quickly startled when Jason is standing above him. And he gets stibbity stabbed over 10 times with the machete.
Yes.
And then Jason gets the idea to literally, like, sandwich the bed in half. And this man, like, breaks in half from, like, his thigh bones. And it's just, like, the worst thing ever. And Gib gets out of the shower. She's like, "Yo, Trey, like, what's going on?" She sees blood on the floor. She steps in it first, which has always bothered me. I'm like, do you not
Yeah.
look down when you walk?
Yeah.
Because, like, I always pay attention to where I'm stepping.
I guess that's just like a horror movie thing. Like,
true, but still.
they're not like us.
And so she opens up the door and it reveals the corpse, and she's screaming, and everyone starts running out of the house. It's storming outside. Everyone's
And
just screaming.
I'm sorry, I would be doing the same thing. I
Girl,
would
me
run.
too. Me too.
But then
still,
I don't like this part where all of a sudden the cop car just pulls up.
Luckily, the cop car drives by, and he rolls down the window, and he's like, "Do you kids need some assistance?" And Gib runs up with blood all over her hands, and she says, "What the fuck do you think?"
Literally, like, right time, right place.
Literally.
Which I love that character, by the way. That the
cop.
I love the actor, not necessarily the character, but the actor. He was in a lot of early 2000s
I
movies.
discussed that in a little bit. We'll get to my thoughts on that.
Okay.
And so the cops are in the house, and one of the cops mentions Freddy's name and how it's the same house and everything, and like Lori overhears it. But now we're at the police station, and the sheriff is talking to another officer, and he tells him that he better make sure that they don't know anything, or he will send his ass to Weston Hills with them. Yikes. Calm down. So the explanation of this is after the events of Freddy's death, the town officials have come to the realization that the story of Freddy Krueger coming back are true. And so they now know that they have to eliminate anyone who believes in him. So in order to protect the peace, they send anyone that believes to Weston Hills to be locked away to keep, like, simply his name away from the rest of the population. And
Right, because once one person brings him up,
exactly, without anyone knowing about him or the story, nobody can fear him, thus Freddy has no power to come back. And so that's why he needs Jason to spread the fear and have everyone think it's Freddy causing the chaos.
right, because Freddy drives on fear.
Exactly. So Stubbs, the new cop, who's played by Lachlan Monroe, who, okay, so like Monica said, he's been in a lot of movies, a lot of like early 2000s, and I can only see him in Scary Movie when he plays Greg, right?
Yeah.
And it's the part whenever they're in the car, okay? It's like they're remaking I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
They're in the car, he's making out with Shannon Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And it's whenever he says, "Oh, I like it when you play with my ass." And she's like, "I'm not playing with your ass."
Right.
And it's actually the other guy played by Sean Wayans over there playing with his ass. And that's all I can see.
I love him as an actor.
He's really good. Like, honestly, in all of his roles that he's ever been in, he's actually really good.
He can play like a dramatic role. He can play
a jerk.
Yeah, like he can be a comedian. He was in that movie Little Man.
Girl, I was just about to say that whenever he was in Little Man.
That's all I think of whenever I see him.
And so Stubbs goes and talks to Lori, and she says that she heard an officer mention a name, and they were asking her weird questions, and an officer knocks on the window and basically tells Stubbs to get the fuck out of there. Lori lays her head on the table, and she's trying to think of the name, and she opens her eyes and says, "Freddy." But she raises up, and she sees that the station is completely empty.
Uh-oh.
She walks the halls and sees a little girl crying on the floor. This stresses me out.
Now, y'all know what's about to happen.
Yes. So she tries to talk to her, and the little girl raises her head, and we see that she has no eyes.
I know.
And that's terrifying to me. I hate it whenever little kids don't have any fucking eyes. Like, creepy kids... that's another level of fear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Creepy kids are way scarier than Freddy Krueger.
And in almost every Freddy Krueger movie, there's always like a little girl. Like a creepy little girl.
Yeah, in the later ones, or there's just like the jump rope kids. Even the jump rope kids are fucking weird.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. All they do is sing their little nursery rhymes. They're still fucking scary. And their little white outfits. Why are they wearing white?
Right.
Like. And so... the little girl says, his name is Freddy Krueger, and he loves children, especially little girls. Fucking creep. She says that he's coming back, and she says that it's okay to be afraid, that they were all afraid. Little bitch, if you don't shut up, I would have punched that little girl in the face.
Right.
Lori ends up backing into a wall, and the whole room switches, and she's outside of her house now, and it's located in a graveyard, apparently. And the little jump rope children with their little fucking white outfits are out there singing their little song. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. And I gotta say, this part right here pisses me off. Because you get a straight shot that's behind Lori, okay? Lori's walking in regular speed. The little kids are going in slow-mo, right? Then you get an overhead shot. Everyone's going in normal speed. Make it make sense.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about the stop motion type
oh my
of
gosh.
filming.
It's like music video type of filming. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know how Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses kind of has that feel to it, where it's like lots of bright colors and a little bit of like that, like you said, like stop motion, where the filming is like choppy a little bit.
Yeah, and it's almost like slow motion, but they also like speed up the slow motion.
Yes.
And I don't like that.
I don't like that choppiness of it.
I know, like, when we first watched it, like, we thought
for
it was
2003, it was cool.
We thought it was really cool, and now that I watch it again, I'm like, this is a shitty movie.
For literally 20 years later, it is not good. Like, no. 10 out of 10, no. And so, then Freddy jump scares her, and she wakes up. And over at Blake's house, his dad is grilling him on the front porch about leaving, how he needed to watch his sister. And Blake just kind of goes the hell off on him and tells him,
"My best friend was just killed, Dad. So how about giving me some fucking space?"
And I get it, but damn, that's your daddy. And you had a responsibility. Blake.
It seems like he's one of those kids that, like, it's like normal to him to go off on his dad. Like, to cuss him out,
yes,
you know?
He's a Chad for sure. A Blake, a Chad. And so his dad leaves, and Blake sits there for a minute, talking to himself a little bit. He's like, "I'm gonna get him, Trey. I'm gonna get him." And he hears something in the bushes that's like across the street. And so he goes out to the middle of the street, and there's a goat at his stairs for some reason. And then Freddy appears down the road laughing at him. And Freddy attempts to use dream logic to, get Blake by, like, projecting himself as, like, this big, like, I don't know, translucent Freddy. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
And tries to, like, stab him, but obviously he can't because he's not strong enough.
There's not enough fear.
Exactly, there's not enough fear. And he says soon he will be strong enough. But for now, Jason can have a little bit of fun. And so Blake is suddenly awoken. His dad is sitting next to him with this, like, shocked look on his face. And then, like, Blake goes to, like, move him a little bit to be like, hey, you good? And his fucking head just flies off onto Blake's lap. And Blake is in shock. He stands up stunned, holding his dad's head. And there's Jason standing behind him.
Classic Jason.
He slashes him off screen. And we know this because there's all this blood that's, like, thrown on the window. Quick cut over to Weston Hills. And the patients are in their line for their little medication. And Mark mentions Hypnosil, which, if we go back to Dream Warriors, we know that Nancy took the same medication, and Dr. Gordon looked it up and found out that it's for dream suppression. Hell yeah. And so Mark takes the pill, and now it's Will's turn, and the TV behind the nurse is showing the news of what happened at Lori's house. He asks for him to turn it up, but the nurse says, just take your medicine. And so Mark pulls him away, and Will says that he has to go back to Springwood. Mark asks if he wants him to start having nightmares again, and Will says to stop with the dream demon bullshit. It's all in his head. Mark mentions how Will said that Lori's dad killed his wife, and that doesn't sound very sane. While they're conversing, this dude Kurt wants Mark's attention to play checkers, and Mark tells him,
How many times do I have to tell you, man? I don't do checkers. I'm an Uno guy, all right? So go grab the fucking Uno deck, and we'll play. Okay?
Which I feel him on that. Uno is way more entertaining than some fucking checkers. Right. But also, I'm not really that good at checkers. I remember you used to whoop my ass at checkers.
Yes, still will.
I am not good at it. I never. It's that rainbow technique, the one that's like.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
Then you can.
Yep.
On the other side. Oh
yeah.
She used to.
I go king me and then I go backwards.
Yep. She used to whoop my ass. And so Mark tells Will to look around, that they're institutionalized and that they're stuck there.
Which is kind of sad.
It is really sad. And so in their room, Mark talks about missing his family, and he says that it's been 4 years since he's seen them. And he questions Will about whether he really believes that Lori's dad killed his wife. And Will says that he knows what he saw, and he needs to make sure that Lori is okay. Cut to Mark rubbing his bare ass on the window.
He's acting crazy.
Acting like a monkey. And it, like, the window leads to, like, the head nurse's area. And Mark is farting on the glass, banging on it, like, just... and everything. Yes. And it's really funny. And the head nurse pulls out this little black book and opens it, and it reveals this pink medication, and it's a tranquilizer called Immobatane, which the names of the medications, Immobatane, to immobilize.
Right, immobilize.
I'm gonna give me some Immobatane. And so Mark's been tranquilized, and he was thrown in his room, but he was able to grab the keys from the head nurse. They're easily able to escape, which for I guess fucking plot reasons.
I don't understand, because they have cameras everywhere.
That's my thing. Okay?
Where are the other staff?
Where's the other staff? Why didn't security say anything about somebody just walking through that didn't have fucking authorization? Does it look like someone that's, like, holding on to another person because they're fucking tranquilized?
Right.
Do they look like a officer? Do they look like a nurse? Do they look like a doctor?
Mark's legs are literally being dragged.
Yes, his legs are like spaghetti. He has spaghetti legs, noodle legs. Like, shit. You're gonna need more than keys, okay? And also, wouldn't you think there's a fence around it?
Right.
I would think that there's a fence around it. Either that or it's in the middle of the fucking woods. Like, a place like that where people could escape, and clearly they are deemed dangerous. there would be some sort of something
Like high
around
security
it.
something.
Exactly.
Security guards outside,
because
something.
even they later even say that like they weren't allowed to talk to anyone on the outside. Nobody could talk to them. Like this was high security. You know, how the hell were they able to get out so easily? Movie makes sense, please. And so over at Lori's house, her father has drugged Lori's orange juice. And he tries to give it to her, but she don't want that shit. She don't want nothing to do with that. She said, that is real orange juice. I only want Sunny D.
Right. That's me.
Give me some of that Tapico.
Right.
That shit in the big milk jugs.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I remember drinking a lot of that and it makes your mouth hurt because it's so tangy.
It's so good.
It's fire with some like ice in your glass. Yum. And so she's clearly exhausted and she literally falls asleep right there. And her dad's face turns into Freddy, and she hops the hell up saying that she's going to school. She just needs to get out of the house and she'll be fine. She'll be okay. He tries to get her to drink her little juice, but she ain't having it. And the sheriff comes in and informs the dad that Mark and Will escaped last night, but he says that they're going to keep it contained. Okay, keep it contained.
But they don't know where they're at.
Exactly. At school, Lori, Kia, and Gib meet up, and Gib informs Lori that Blake was found stibbity-stabbed to death last night, plus his dad. Big yikes. And Kia is pissed. She's like, this is bullshit! The police are blaming it on Blake, saying he went crazy, killed Trey, then his dad, then offed himself. Like, what? How does that make sense? Who stabs themselves to death, first of all?
And obviously, like, it's surrounding these kids, so why didn't they, like, I don't know, send them home from school?
Exactly.
Like, keep them separated so that, they can't talk about Freddy.
Exactly. That don't make sense. The cops would have had to say, like, you need to stay at home. You know what I'm saying? You're excused from school.
Right.
And so, also, the way that everyone's staring at them whenever Kia's, like, up there talking, I'm like, take a fucking picture. It'll last longer. And so inside, they're walking the halls, and Linderman walks up and says how sorry he is about what happened. And then he tries to riz her by saying, if you ever need someone to talk to, but then is cut off by Kia basically saying,
we don't have time for data dork right now.
Burn! Fucking burn, Linderman.
But she gonna get what's coming for her later on.
Yeah, but still burn.
I love Kia, but like, yeah.
She kind of acts like an asshole to him.
Because she has her own problems.
Yes, but still burn. They walk away and Kia says that it's every day with him. He's like one of them little frou-frou dogs that keep humping your leg. Right there I said, I love Kia.
Right.
Like, she's a great character. I like her. She's funny.
Add a little spice to it.
Exactly. A little comedic tone to it. And so Freeberg and Shaq, which, why do they name this dude Shaq is my question.
I have no clue.
And it's SHACK. Like a shack in the woods. Like Jason Shack in the woods. Like, they're up there standing in the middle of the hall, passing out rave invites. And Freeberg is trying to convince Gib to come, even though her man's just died and she saw the body and everything. And Gib asks Lori if she wants to go. And this is where we get the breakdown of the century. Lori's up there. She starts talking about Freddy and she's crying. She's like, it's this man and they were singing this song. And whenever she starts talking about the song, Mark comes slinking up, singing the song, being like, all creepy. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Like, first of all, why are you walking up like that?
I think he was just not used to civilization.
Right, but still.
He's been like held in there for how long? Years.
But still. And he says, do you know why they sing that? It means he's coming for you in your dreams. And after him like talking and like freaking Lori out for a minute, Will comes up and is like, stop it, you're scaring her. And Lori's all like, Will?
Which I hate this part.
Me too. And she like walks up to him, touches his face, and then proceeds to pass the hell out. The principal comes up, and so Will and Mark bounce. And little fun fact, this is a little cameo from Robert Shea himself, the producer. And in the nurse's office, Lori is taking her a little nappy nap. And Kia's reading a magazine, and it's talking about plastic surgery.
Because Kia wants to get her nose done.
Yes. She asked the nurse about nose jobs because, like I say here, she really, really wants a nose job for some reason. She has, like, a nice nose. Like, chill.
Yeah. She asked the nurse, do they give her anesthesia?
What kind of anesthesia?
Yeah.
They put you all the way out, right?
Right.
Why would they not put you all the way out to fuck up your nose? Like, don't make no sense.
Changing the shape of it, like...
She flips through the pages of the magazine some more, and the photos get more and more gross and gruesome until at one point, Freddy's glove just pops the hell out of one of the pages. The blades go up in her nose, and this motherfucker has the audacity to say,
Got your nose!
and pops the bitch off. It's a very, very bad CGI job right there of her nose popping off. Kia wakes up, her nose is still intact, and she throws the magazine across the room.
But same.
Right, but same. And so in the hall, Will and Mark, they're talking a little bit, and Will asks Mark why he would tell Lori all that stuff. And Mark says that maybe for once in his life, someone else believes him and he isn't crazy. And his brother also wasn't crazy. Which we later find out that his brother got by Freddy, but it made it look like a suicide. And so then some cops run up on him and they're like, Mark, Will! And so they like bounce the hell out of the school. They like running for their lives. And so they end up going to the library, and they're on one of those old microfilm machines, which I did have to Google because I always just called those the newspaper machines.
Right.
They're called microfilm. More I know. And Mark sees that there is nothing on Freddy, that whole news articles have been blacked out, and even his brother's suicide isn't in there, which is really weird. And so Mark says that officials have treated Krueger like a disease, covered him up, and eradicated him. And then they lock everyone up who knows anything about him to keep him from spreading. And Will says that that's crazy, but Mark asks why they were never allowed to any outside contact. They were in a literal quarantine. Scary. Imagine
They're trying to contain the fear.
Exactly, but imagine like coming out of that and being like, holy shit, like all those people are stuck up there because of this thing. Like, what the fuck? You know that TikTok where the dude was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That is literally, that's how I would feel. And so cut over to Mark's parents' house. They're at his brother's van, like inside of it, which for some reason has a blue light in the back and it just makes my eyes hurt. I could not handle watching those scenes. I had to watch them like looking down, just had to listen. And so Will asks Mark why Freddy hasn't killed Lori, and Mark thinks that he isn't strong enough yet. It's the fear that makes him strong, and Will mentions how Mark spread fear at the school, and Mark realizes that he fucked up. He wants to just bounce out and leave, but Will says that he can't. He needs to talk to Lori and make sure that she's okay. And they start discussing why nobody at Weston Hills has died. Like, why is that? When was the last time that Mark had a nightmare? Will borrows the van. They don't get any answers. They're just thinking out loud. Will just borrows the van to go find Lori, and Mark, I guess, goes and just chills in his old room.
Which I don't understand that either because, okay.
This is the biggest plot hole. This is the biggest plot hole right here.
It's his parents' house. He has not seen his parents in 4 years. Just according to the movie, at least 4 years. And he just waltz all up into his house, goes into his room, and turns on loud metal rock music. First of all, how do they not know that their own son is there? Second of all, why wouldn't you want to see your parents? I could get, maybe they would send you back, but why wouldn't you want to see your parents if you haven't seen them in 4 years?
But also, like, he went home. I think was he expecting to see his parents? Maybe, because he did go back home.
Yeah.
Where the fuck are they at?
Right.
Do they just not exist? Did they just bounce the hell out and abandon the house? I'm confused. I have questions.
Right, because if they abandon the house, how does it have electric?
Exactly.
How's
all their shit still in there?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Running hot water at that because the fucking steam. And so we're in the cornfield having a rave. Okay, Ohio. This is the second movie that you and I have covered together with fucking Ohio. Because the faculty was also set in fucking Ohio.
I don't know
Like,
what's up with Ohio. I've never been there. I don't really want to go there either.
I don't want to go to fucking Ohio. All it is cornfields and raves in the cornfields and parasites. Like,
They probably say the same about Arkansas.
Arkansas don't have no cornfields.
They'll say, well, we just have fields.
We have fields of like wheat and shit.
Cotton.
No, I don't think we have any cotton.
Yeah, we do.
There's some. There's a little bit
we
of cotton,
do.
but like it's mostly like wheat and I think like rice, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a farmer. I just know that whenever we drive in the middle of bumfuck, all I see is fucking fields.
Right. And dollar stores.
In dollar stores, literally.
Dollar Generals.
Imagine having to mow a field. Like, imagine
They
you
have
just
big tractors and
no,
stuff.
okay, so
for
like
it.
imagine you just own a lot of land. You don't have like crops or anything. Imagine having to cut all of that fucking grass. Like you own like 50 acres. And you have to maintain it or else the city's gonna come in.
No, the city doesn't do that. You own it. Like it's out in the country.
I'm saying though, if it was strict.
Obviously, Mal
out.
doesn't like to live in the country.
No, I
She
don't.
doesn't
I'm used to
wanna-
living in the city where they like come out, like code enforcement will come out and be like, hey, you need to cut your grass.
Yeah, and I like living out in the country.
Have fun with that. Have fun living in Ohio. And so Linderman arrives to the rave, surprisingly. Shaq grabs him and forces him to drink from a beer funnel. Fun. And Jason is there, grabbing shit off of machines to use as weapons.
He straight up like pulls like a whole pipe.
whole pipe from like a machine.
It was like a tractor or something, like a big
Yes,
tractor.
it looked like something that you would drive. I don't know. I don't know if it was a tractor or one of those like little things that have like the little claws that come out.
like
you know?
an excavator or
maybe,
something.
maybe.
No,
like,
it wasn't an excavator. It was probably just like a
like
big
those little
tractor or
wheat
something.
things that they come out and they just like grab it. I don't
Right.
know. Maybe they do that for corn too.
Yeah.
They're in a fucking cornfield. It's something that has to do with
We're
corn.
obviously not farmers.
Yeah, obviously. And so Linderman tries to flirt with Lori, but of course Kia has her back. Lori asks why she's so wet, or why he is so wet, and Kia says that she always pictured him as a straight up bedwetter. Linderman then retaliates and basically tells Kia that she's projecting on him to make herself feel better, and then he walks off like a boss.
That's exactly how you go off on somebody without even cussing them out or degrading them. You just tell them exactly what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know?
projecting. Because 99% of the time they're projecting.
Yeah.
Like, I've encountered people online even, and I'm just like, you are literally projecting and you're not worth my time.
Right.
So, fuck off. Will has arrived. Linderman sees and knows that his chance is gone with Lori. But then Kia comes up and offers him to dance. She's like, come on, Linderman, let's go dance.
Now that he has a backbone, she likes him.
Right. And Will and Lori talk. And Will tells her that he's been in Weston Hills. And he tells her that he needed to know that she was safe. But then Kia interrupts their very serious conversation to bring them to dance. And poor Gib, she's drunk as hell. She ends up walking off by herself.
She's an alcoholic.
Like a fucking dum-dum. She's a dum-dum alcoholic. And it's really sad. And
it's just sad because, like, even if she's like, okay, she's in high school. If she's a senior, okay, at the most she's 18. She's an alcoholic already.
she could turn her life around easily. Like, she totally could.
Yeah, it's just sad.
It's very sad. And so she sees Trey's severed head talking shit to her in the cornfield.
No, it's not just his head. It's a whole
Well,
body.
okay. So it looks like somebody's holding Trey's severed head, and the severed head is talking to her. And is like, I'm dead one night and you're already hanging out and getting drunk. And he's like, come on, follow me. And so, sorry. Come on, follow me. And she does for some reason. And further into the cornfield she goes. She ends up at this silo. And of course she goes in. And the silo soon turns into the boiler room. And Freddy appears. And she gets chased for a little bit. And in the real world, this is fucked up. Gib is passed out on the ground in a clearing.
I didn't like this part.
No, this made me uncomfortable. I skipped it. I just knew that what happened. And this dude that was wearing glow sticks comes up and starts trying to assault her. And in the dream world, Gib has run into Freddy and he says,
The only thing to fear is fear himself.
and Gib falls down near some lockers, and she goes and hides in one. And as Freddy opens it and is about to get her, blood sprays all over him from her chest, right? And basically, Jason secretly came up behind Freddy's back and got her, as well as Glowstick Boy, in the real world. And Freddy is pissed off. He's like, she's mine! And
He was mad.
Jason literally yeets Glowstick Boy like across the fucking field. He's big dead. And now we're at my personal favorite part of the whole movie. So Shaq and this other dude are out there smoking a doob and drinking straight fucking Everclear out of a clear pitcher. And it's the fact that they're doing it straight is what kills me. Because Everclear, if you've never had it, is like fucking rubbing alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, it is so nasty. I just, Jason walks up on them.
Like, how are they able to even talk?
Literally. And Shaq even says, this Everclear is kicking my ass. Like, no shit.
Right.
No shit. And so Jason walks up on them, and he's just standing there. Homie on the left is like,
Check out this fucking guy.
and then Shaq says,
Well, hey, Jethro. This is a rave, not a Halloween party. Why don't you go find yourself a pig to fuck?
Jethro.
Jethro.
Like, what kind of name is that?
That's Ohio for you. And the other guy says, invite only corn poke, and you were invite. But then is cut off by Jason literally grabbing his head and twisting it in a 180, okay? Shaq says, son of a bitch, and then throws the Everclear on Jason, sets him on fire. Jason is unbothered though. He straight up, like, Shaq starts running and he just follows behind him, eventually throwing his machete and just like murks Shaq. It just like goes straight through Shaq. It's still on fire and he's dead, right?
And then he spits out blood. But the thing is, when I saw it all playing, I saw that he was holding the blood in his mouth and then spit it out.
That was not...
The special effects were
not good. And so there's chaos. People are running for their lives. Jason murks like 3 more people and then is extinguished by beer. Then he gets like 3 more people, I'm pretty sure. And then we cut over to the van. Lori, Will, Kia, Linderman, and Freeberg are all together. Will takes everyone home, and then when Lori is last, he tries to tell her, no, you shouldn't go inside. He tells her that he thinks he saw, or he knows he saw her dad kill her mom. And we have a flashback of what happened. But then her dad interrupts.
Which I don't like this part either.
Her dad straight up interrupts by yanking Lori out the car. The dad tries to choke out Will, but then he quits when Lori runs off, so he goes to follow her. She goes to the house. She questions about her mom's death, and he tries to deflect. She's like, oh, she died in a car accident. Well, give me a death certificate. Give me something, an autopsy report. And he's like, well, we'll just talk about it in the morning. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it in the morning.
Which I agree.
No. And she questions about Weston Hills, and she has it all figured out. He tries to walk up the stairs to her, and he says, you need a rest. But she says she doesn't want a rest. She wants to know why he has been lying. She runs up the stairs, locks her dad out of the room, and then she uses, she sees that her window's open. She uses the trellis to like climb down. Luckily, Will was still close by lurking around and was able to grab her and like save her from her daddy. And Will says that they need to get to Mark and that he is the expert on all of this.
I want to interject, though. I hate the costume design of almost every single person.
Every character has terrible costumes.
And I hate, why do they always do that stereotype? The main girl has to have big perky boobs and wear low-cut shirts. Like, she was literally out in the rain wearing a white
low-cut shirt.
And then when she, like, runs in the house, she's running up the stairs. And obviously, like, the only thing I can see are boobs.
Literally.
That's all I'm
staring at.
staring
And on top
at.
of that, it's raining outside, too. So it's like, damn, like she wet with a white shirt on. She has nice titties. I'll give that to her. We never actually see them, but like, damn, get a final girl that ain't got no titties. Flat pancake final.
It's
girl.
just a stereotype, and
Yes.
like just like Kia's outfits. I feel like they tried to like overly dress her like as a stereotypical black girl.
Yes.
When a black girl can literally wear anything. Like,
Literally.
But of course, this is the early 2000s.
And then there's Gib, who's supposedly the alcoholic. She kind of dresses a little bit like slackish, a little bit like,
right.
You know, she wears the very comfortable clothing, baseball caps, hoodies, jackets. Yeah.
I just don't like it. And then like the stoners have to wear baggy pants and baggy hoodies and long hair.
And then there's Linderman, who's the geek who wears like the fucking button down shirt and shit. Like, no, the stereotypes in this movie are way too much.
I don't like it.
Over at Mark's house, he's looking at old pictures, I guess in his old bedroom, I assume. And he hears noises coming from the bathroom, and he goes in. This bathroom is unusually large, and I don't like it.
I don't know if they did that just for the movie, like as the camera, or like if it was an actual big large bathroom. Because I said that immediately after rewatching it.
I don't like that bathroom. It's weird. And
there's so much space between the door and the vanity.
The sink, and then like where's the toilet, and then you have like the little tub over here. I don't like it.
It's huge.
It's huge, and it looks like one that I would have made in The Sims whenever I was like 10.
Right.
And so he goes over to take some sleep aid. It's the last pill. But when he closes the medicine chest, he sees Krueger in the reflection, which makes him drop the pill down the drain. And he turns around. His dead brother's in the tub, and it's filled with blood. And the blood is overflowing. Some nasty things like pierce Mark's feet and make him stand in one spot in the bathroom. And in the real world, Will and Lori get over to Mark's house, and they see that he's asleep. And in the dream world, Mark is being harassed by Freddy because Freddy wants him to send a message. Mark says he won't do it, and so Freddy says that he has to pass the message himself then. He ends up setting Mark on fire on his back. And of course, IRL, he's on fire too. And he ends up burning up on his back a message that says, Freddy's back. And I'm sorry, the fact that he wrote that on a back.
Right.
That's some goofy ass shit, and they know it.
And to be honest, I was actually like, I'm looking up Mark's brother because he looks super familiar.
Oh, he was on. I know what he was on.
And I just found out.
So he was on. Hold up. Because if you say the same thing, he was the little redhead kid on A Christmas Story.
Yes. I don't. Was he in any other movies?
I don't know, but all I know is that he was the little redhead kid on Christmas Story.
I've never seen any of his other movies, but...
And so eventually, Will and Lori meet up with Freeberg, Linderman, and Kia. They discuss what to do next, and Will explains that it's the fear that made Freddy powerful. Freeberg says, fuck that guy, what about the big motherfucker in the cornfield? He's the one that they need to be afraid of. Which I get that. He's like, fuck the guy in the dreams, let's worry about this big bitch. Awake. Exactly. And then Stubbs enters, telling them that it's Jason Voorhees. Kia thinks that they're fucked since the police is there, but Stubbs is like, nope, I am here to help. He gives the exposition of Jason and how he drowned when he was little and blah, blah, blah.
Which I hate how they just put him in there.
They just insert it. They're just like, oh yeah, here's his story. Instead of, like, I know that eventually...
Not even that. It's just like inserting the cop into the madness. Like,
yes.
Like...
It's just like, here's me. I'm here for exposition. Literally.
Bad storytelling. And
so they figure out that Freddy had Jason spread the fear, like I said earlier. And so Lori pipes up and she asks how they can use Freddy dying by fire and Jason by water. And the group at the table start discussing how they should offer Freddy a sacrifice, like a virgin. And everyone looks at Linderman and he says,
even if you pay for it, it still counts.
Boy, if you don't sit your ass down up there paying for sex.
Getting some prostitutes.
Literally. But then Kia says, we all know who the real virgin is. And they look at Lori and they all agree to tie Lori up. Will literally says, let's tie the bitch up. And then her dad comes into the picture all of a sudden. So now we know that she's dreaming. He says, oh, I'm going to protect her. And then he tries to literally fucking tongue her in the mouth. Like, that's your child.
Yes.
You nasty. Stop it.
But then Freddy comes.
But then Freddy pops up and he says,
Your eyes say no, but my mouth says yes.
Oh, baby. Come on home, Freddy.
you're like, baby boy, I will make your dreams come true.
Yes.
With your old burnt up dangling.
Right. Yeah, you want to have a burnt up baby?
Not a burnt up mini Freddy. Little mini Freddy baby. Oh my God. You wildin'. And so that causes Lori to wake up. That was so fucking scary that she was like, nope, gotta wake up.
Right.
And she was able to grab Freddy's ear out of the dream, which is disgusting. And she drops it and it turns into fucking maggots.
That's gross.
That's so nasty.
And then the cop like steps on them.
Oh, he had maggot juice all over his foot. And so then they get the bright idea of Hypnosil. So they're going to go up to Weston Hills and get some, since, you know, the dreams are killing them, not the sleep. That is so dumb. They're like, the dreams are killing us, not our sleep. No fucking shit.
Right.
God, y'all are so dumb. And so,
and I just feel like they just this whole part
is a shit show.
No, this whole part shouldn't even be in the movie. They should have did it a different way. I don't know.
This is a shit show.
I don't.
And so they go to Weston Hills. They go inside, and of course, it's easy for them to go inside too with the little fucking keys that they had, right?
But yet the security guard gets a notification from Jason banging on the door, but he didn't get a notification of the actual kids breaking in.
And so Linderman, Freeburg, and Stubbs, they're in this control room, and Linderman and Stubbs leave so Freeburg can sit there and smoke a joint.
Which that control room looks cheap as hell.
Cheap as hell. It looks like in the 70s. It looks like some shit on Star Trek, honestly.
Literally, all these buttons and stuff. Like,
why is it there? Why is it there? Why do you need this in a mental hospital?
Why is there a control room, period?
Exactly. Why does it need it in a mental hospital?
I could see like a security room with like security
cameras.
Right,
that was not a security room. I don't understand. A control room.
What are they controlling? The air conditioning and the lights? Like
literally. And so the security guard, he gets got by Jason off screen. There's this gunshot, and Will, Lori, and Kia, they end up walking into this room full of people. They're all in a coma, and they wouldn't stop dreaming. And basically, they were just given too much Hypnosil, and so they were like, I'm in a coma now. And back with Freeburg, which, okay, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Because I'm sitting there while I'm watching this movie, I'm trying to make sense of all this, because you even talked about this. So the room that they're in, with the people that are in a coma, right?
It's connected to
the room that Freeburg is in. Okay, Freeburg is in the control room. There's a door that's in between them, right? Freeburg is in the room, in the control room. He's smoking his joint, okay? Right. This is whenever the little Freddy slug comes in there, and he brings his little hookah with him. He hits the hookah, blows it in Freeburg's face, and then escapes under the door, right?
Right.
And Freeburg's like, oh yeah, let me hit that real quick, right? So he goes into the room, and all of the people that are in a coma are now like raised up, right? And they're like whispering to him, talking about the Hypnosil. So he breaks open this cabinet, he grabs the Hypnosil.
And the Hypnosil is in there, but
they were just in that room.
And they were looking for the Hypnosil.
They even crossed over to the other side of the room. This makes no sense. They could have easily grabbed that fucking Hypnosil, and they could have also seen Freeburg over there talking to it, being asleep. The motherfucker was asleep.
Right.
Make it make sense. Make it make sense. And so, like we said, the people are whispering to him, Get rid of the Hypnosil. You gotta throw it away.
And he's like,
no, we can't do that. We need that. But then he looks up, and the Freddy creature falls on him and literally invades his body. The special effects right there were awful. And then, meanwhile, Stubbs and Linderman, they find Freeburg. They're in the control room. I don't know why they didn't cross over and try to stop him. The door was fucking unlocked.
Right.
And he's over there, he's dumping all of them into the sink and everything. But then Jason, he's suddenly in the room. He didn't even walk through the door, he just appeared. Like fucking zombie. And he puts his machete into the control panel, causing him to be electrocuted. He's up there shaking and shit. And Stubbs is about to like run off. He gets grabbed by Jason, causing him to be electrocuted too. He like tosses his gun. Linderman is able to grab the gun, and he's like holding it up, trying to point it at Jason, but like Jason's like, oh nope, I'm gonna come get you. So he runs off like a little bitch. And so they're all running. Before this, Freddy Freeberg grabs some Imobitane, and Lori and co see that there's no more Hypnosil, okay, which they should have been in the same room at this point. If he's grabbing the fucking Imobitane in the same room that had the Hypnosil in it.
Right.
They're in there trying to find the Hypnosil. They would have been in the same spot.
I don't understand.
Unless there's two exact same fucking rooms. One of them has the Hypnosil, one of them doesn't.
Right.
Like, this makes no sense. And so he grabs this Imobitine or whatever, and they're up there running. And Jason ends up throwing Stubbs' body through the door. So this is whenever they start running, actually. And Freddy Freeberg is in the hallway, just standing there. Will tells him, we gotta go, man. And Freddy Freeberg says,
let me handle this, bitch.
And Jason busts through the door.
I'm so tired of using the same thing over and over. Like, yeah, that's like Freddy's trademark.
That's his trademark word is bitch.
Yeah, but like, it's happened how many times, and we're not to the end?
Too many. There's at least, I think, 2 more times that it said.
So
I know for a fact I mentioned at least
3
once.
or 4 times in
Too
one
many
movie.
times. Too many times.
When usually it's only mentioned
Once.
one time.
All I need is that one time. That's it.
After that one time, it's like, it's too much.
They doing the most. And so Jason busts through this door, and Freddy Freeberg ends up tranquilizing him. But Jason soon cuts him directly in half, but he is tranquilized, thank goodness.
Yeah.
With Jason out, we're now dragged into his dream, and he's in the boiler room. His mother's talking shit to him, and eventually transforms into Freddy. And Freddy jumps to attack Jason. Jason cuts off both of his arms. But, of course, we're in Freddy's domain. He grew them bitches right back. Then Jason gets a bit of an ass whooping. Freddy says, welcome to my nightmare. He does not include bitch this time.
Right.
And
thankfully.
There's a lot of really bad CGI. Jason gets stabbed with his own machete and then like thrown around like a pinball machine. This part's so annoying. We get the effects, the sound effects.
Noises. It's like
do, 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 do. And then Jason's on the ground. A big ass piece of boiler falls on him. But Jason ain't phased. He just pushes it off.
Right, because he ain't human.
Exactly. Then Freddy gets thrown into a pipe that starts spurting out water. This is where I have another fucking issue.
Yes.
Because why is this man's afraid of water?
But he comes out of water.
Jason has never once been afraid of water. And why now, all of a sudden, he's afraid of it? It makes no sense. And the fact that it causes him to have a trauma response and he reverts back to being a fucking child.
It honestly made me feel kind of sorry for him, but also like, again, why is he afraid of water?
He's never been afraid of water.
Okay, we'll get to the end, but you'll see why we're saying
but
why
also,
is he afraid of water.
Simply go back to part 6, okay? He literally walks into the water, goes over to Tommy, and Tommy's in a fucking boat.
Right.
And is able to attack him, okay? Go over to part 8 in Manhattan. He literally goes over and climbs the fucking, what is that? The anchor, okay? Climbs the anchor chain. Like, Jesus, why? Why? If anyone ever says that this movie is better than Jason Goes to Hell, they are dumbasses. Because at least Jason Goes to Hell makes sense.
Any of them.
But no, the thing about it, Jason Goes to Hell is like, it's so low on everyone's chart. You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh yeah, Freddy vs. Jason is like number 5. No, this needs to be at the lowest because it's awful.
Like, I get it's like a cult classic. Like, they did this movie for the fans.
For the fans, for sure. And because it was just an idea for so long, there had been, I'm pretty sure, like, comic books and stuff made out of it, too. And so, like, definitely for the fans, also kind of for a cash grab. And, yeah, it's like, meh. But back at the van, they have Jason tied up and they're on their way to Crystal Lake. Here's my other fucking issue. Why did the filmmakers think it was such a short distance from Springwood to Crystal Lake? Because I did this myself, okay? Basing off, I literally Googled where Crystal Lake would have been, right? I did it to where the filming location was.
And it was in New Jersey,
It's
right?
in New Jersey, yes. I forgot it's some township in New Jersey, right? And then I just looked at a map of Ohio and I was like, okay, Springwood, Springfield, okay? So I literally just did a route from Springfield, Ohio to New Jersey. And it's like a fucking 14-hour drive.
Right. Even if it was like from edge to edge, it would be like 10 hours.
At least 10 hours. And so like, why? And so in the dream, Jason's being fucked with by Freddy. And this is actually really sad because like Freddy like stabs his like temple with his like finger glove. And it's like little child Jason. And he's up there just like shaking and shit, afraid of the water. And so in the van, Lori gets dosed and she's trying to bring Freddy out of the dream. And she sets this 15-minute alarm. And in her dream, she's at the camp. It's the day that Jason, quote unquote, died and drowned. And she watches as he's being bullied by the other kids. And she watches as he's thrown into the lake. And she goes out to try to help, but is freaked out by his face, which is fucked up as well. But then Freddy drags Jason underwater.
But also, you left out a part.
What? Are you talking about whenever Freddy was fucking the counselor?
Yes.
Okay, I did not find that part important.
No, I just was like, okay, she walks up to the cabin. There's two counselors that are like talking, making out to the left, but then they're also like having sex to the right, like 6 feet away from each other. Again, I know it's a dream, but what?
Literally.
And it's supposed to be like a retold story of how he died. There's no way.
No way.
In broad daylight. With kids running around.
Fucking on a porch.
Literally. And the dude's clothes were all on, but then the girl's clothes were all off.
Yes. And then Freddy turns around and he was actually fucking the dead corpse. And it was awful. But yes, I did not find that part. I did not find that part important. But so,
I did.
Like I said, Freddy drags Jason underwater, and in the real world, Jason's like spurting out water. It's like he's being drowned. And Linderman makes the comment about mouth to mouth. And poor Kia, she has to do it since Will is driving, and Linderman has asthma. So she slowly starts taking off his nasty mask. You can see his mouth, his fucking teeth. He's like spurting out water. And right as she's about to do it, Jason wakes the hell up. He's choosing violence. Like literally this man, he's like, oh shit, I'm awake. I'm choosing violence. Like this makes Will skirt off the road. Jason's able to fly out and escape the dream. So Freddy focuses on Lori now. Her alarm is trying to wake her up, but she grabs him and is yelling, "Wake me up!" But instead, she's transported to her house in her dream, okay? So IRL, they've almost made it to Crystal Lake. So they carry Lori there after driving for like 30 minutes. And in the dream, Lori's watching her dad murk her mom. But then it turns out that it's actually Freddy. And Lori tries to run away, but is somehow tripped in the hallway. Like, something goes up underneath the boards and, like, trips her. And I never understood that. I guess it's just dream logic, but it's fucking weird. And so IRL, they're trying to wake up Lori. And they see Jason in the distance. And then in the dream, I really hate this whole part because it's like back and forth. Dream, real life, dream, real life. And so back in the dream, Lori is being assaulted by Freddy. And then IRL, Jason breaks through a wall and chaos ensues. Kia tries to fight him, but then is thrown into a wall. And then a fire is started. And then in the dream, Freddy says,
"Welcome to my world, bitch."
There's another one.
And is being real nasty with Lori. But then IRL, Linderman's trying to protect Kia because now he got feelings for her. But then is also thrown into a wall, onto this metal spike that's sticking out of the wall. And that just hurts my back every time. But then Will is trying to get Lori out. And he ends up burning her arm. which wakes her the hell up, and she brings Freddy into the real world. And Freddy realizes what's going on. He sees that he has a new opponent, Jason. And so the fight's on. And I'm not going to narrate the whole thing because it's a lot, but I'm just going to say this. It looked like Freddy was getting his ass whooped.
Yeah.
Linderman and Kia are now in the woods. And Linderman tells Kia that he's going to rest there. She needs to go get help. And she does. But then unfortunately, Linderman bleeds out right there.
Poor guy.
R.I.P. Linderman. And Will and Lori, they end up running into Kia. But then there's Freddy too. So Kia's like, I'm going to get his attention real quick to help my friends get out. And so she's up there mocking him, talking about his teensy-weensy little knives and how he probably has a tiny dick and stuff. And then she's like, Jason has like this big old machete. Oh, yeah. And then she also calls him a slur, too.
Yes. And none of that was scripted.
No, none of that was scripted.
And it did not age well. Because when I rewatched it, because I haven't watched it in a couple years, I guess.
I probably haven't watched this in about 8 years or something like that.
I rewatched it and I was like, what did she say?
What did she say? But then Jason comes up and basically murks her by throwing her into a tree. And we get more of that weird ass like stop motion. And I hate it. And the Jason and Freddy fight, it's on again. And Will and Lori, they leave. But then Lori's like, no, I can't leave. She wants to watch Freddy die. She knows that he's the one that killed her mom. So she's like, I'm going to stay there and I'm going to watch him die. And so Freddy and Jason fight. And they're in this construction zone. And it eventually gets to where they're on this dock, right? Lori's pouring all this gas onto the dock to, I guess, like capsulate them in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of like keep them away from everybody else. And at one point, Freddy cuts off Jason's fingies. So he drops his machete. But he's still putting up a pretty good fight. I'm going to give him that. Even though Freddy literally grabs his machete and is like whooping his ass with it.
Right.
But then, like, he's getting slashed and gashed. And then Freddy's knife fingies go right into Jason's eyes. Which is brutal as hell. And then Lori lights the dock on fire. Freddy's caught off guard. Jason cuts off Freddy's arm and literally puts his like hands into his chest, right? Mm-hmm. And Freddy slowly like stabs Jason with his own machete. Mm-hmm. There's this explosion. They all fly into the water, okay? Will and Lori, they get back on the dock. They hug. They're thinking it's all over. But then here comes Freddy walking up, trying to use all of his last strength to get them. He's up there holding the machete with his left hand, right? But then here comes Jason. He pops the hell up. He stabs Freddy through the heart with his own finger knives. Freddy drops the machete. He drops down to his knees. Jason falls into the water. And then Lori grabs the machete and she yells, "Welcome to my world, bitch!" And chops Freddy's head off. And he like falls into the water. We think everyone's dead. You know, Lori and Will survived. Freddy and Jason are dunskies.
They're in the water.
But then we get this shot of Jason. It's like in some sort of like dreamscape or something. Mm-hmm. And he's walking off with Freddy's head. And then the head winks at us and smiles. So we know that Freddy and Jason, they're always going to come back. And we hit the end credits. And I just want to say, Jason won.
I know, like, from watching it, it's obvious that Jason won. But from me reading, like, you know, the facts online and stuff from, like, the actual director and everything, they say that there's no real winner.
Yes, there is no real winner. However, Jason dominated. Because I count, you know, Jason gets him with the finger gloves, right? And, like, that's basically it. And then Lori comes in and is like, overkill, I'm going to cut your fucking head off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that last little finger knives thing that's what... He got, like, the last say. You know what I'm saying? You know, whenever you're in the argument and you only feel like you win whenever you have the last word in it?
Yeah.
He got the last word in it. Yeah. Therefore, he won the fight. And I know you're upset about it.
Yeah.
I see the look in your eyes. Y'all, if only y'all could see her. She looks so defeated.
Because I love Freddy, but he got the last wink. He got the last wink.
But guess what? He was decapitated and Jason was holding his head. So you just don't want Jason. You just don't want Freddy to win. You don't want Jason to lose. Or you don't want Freddy to lose. You do want Jason. No. Ignore what I'm saying. I'm loopy at this point. I've been recording like all day, y'all. It's been
and this movie
crazy.
was kind of exhausting because it just did not age well at all. And
it's one of those movies that I'm really upset. Like, okay, I'm not going to say that I'm upset that I covered it, but I'm upset that I looked too far into it because now I have more questions than answers.
Yes.
And I'm completely rethinking my whole idea of this movie.
Right.
You know, I'm just like, ooh, I don't really like it anymore.
Right.
So, yeah. Well, this concludes the special Friday the 13th episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you, Mel, for inviting me to co-host, I guess.
Yes. I am so glad you decided to come. You know, I love discussing old movies with you that I know that you and I watched a lot together.
Yes.
And being able to, you know, talk about how he felt back then.
And, like, dissect it.
Dissecting it and then seeing how we feel about it now.
Yes.
It's definitely, like...
Freddy versus Jason was, like, one of my favorite, horror movies.
We had it on DVD.
Yeah.
Like, I remember watching it all the time.
But now that I watch it over...
Yikes.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
They could have done it in like so many different ways, but
they really could have. But like I said before, cash grab. They did it for the fans. You know, clearly they went through way too many scripts.
Right,
and that was the issue. They went through way too many scripts.
They obviously got their money back. So
yeah,
hey,
I mean that's all
I guess
that matters.
that's a win for them.
Yep. In the world of movies, they made their money. Whatever. Mm-hmm. So, well. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys have an amazing day, evening, night, whatever the hell. And I will see you guys, you know, this coming week. We were going to be having Halloween H2O. I'm so motherfucking ready.
That's not my favorite, but...
And then, y'all, so I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to say what movie it is, but the week after, Monika is coming back.
Yes.
She is coming back.
I'm so excited.
We are discussing another one of our...
Excited.
I don't like this movie anymore. I know I don't like this movie anymore, but this was one of our favorites growing up.
This is still one of my favorites.
It's just such a shit show. But I'm here for it. I'm here for the shit show. But that'll be in due time.
Yeah, we can't tell any of our secrets.
Yes, no secrets. But yeah, y'all have a good one. We'll see you next time. Bye.